know him for X, Tesla, and SpaceX, but now Elon Musk is coming to Memphis to build the world's largest supercomputer.
Beneath the headlines about billion-dollar GPUs and the next leap in artificial intelligence lies something even more staggering.
If you didn't know, it was officially home to the world's fastest supercomputer. Officials say it's being used at the forefront of national security.
A project so big, it could redefine what power means in the digital age. Elon Musk is not just building a supercomputer, he's attempting to bend the future of AI to his will. But to get there, he's betting on an infrastructure so massive and aggressive, it's forcing an entirely new playbook. Forget slow progress. This is a moonshot, built at breakneck speed, fueled by unchecked ambition and backed by a strategy most people haven't even noticed yet. The hardware is real, the timeline is fast, and what it's meant to unlock, that's where things get controversial. This isn't just about AI, it's about who owns the tools to shape the next phase of civilization. And if you think it's just about chips and data, wait until you see what's hiding underneath all that silicon. Race for artificial general intelligence. Elon Musk has made no secret of his desire to be the first to achieve artificial general intelligence, AGI, a form of AI that can learn, reason, and adapt across domains just like a human. But Musk isn't aiming for just parity with the human brain, he wants to surpass it. That ambition puts enormous pressure on xAI to scale up its computational capabilities far beyond what's currently possible with existing infrastructure. Colossus 1, already the most powerful AI training system on the planet with 200,000 graphics processing units, GPUs, was only the beginning. Musk has openly stated that even this cutting-edge system isn't enough to support the future of Grok, his uncensored AI chatbot, let alone train an AGI capable of real-world cognition. Why isn't Colossus 1 enough? The answer lies in the exponential complexity of AGI development. Unlike traditional narrow AI, which is trained for specific tasks like driving or language translation, AGI must simultaneously process multimodal data, engage in continuous learning, and make autonomous decisions across unfamiliar scenarios. These demands require not just more compute power, but smarter compute infrastructure, capable of training increasingly large and dynamic models in real time. As model sizes balloon into the trillions of parameters and require more contextual memory, even the world's fastest supercomputers can become bottlenecks. Colossus 2 aims to remove that ceiling. Coming to AGI isn't a simple incremental journey, as Musk seems to get, while most of his critics do not. These aspects include breakthroughs demanding an infrastructure capable of absorbing failure at scale and very instant retraining and optimizing across thousands of variables in parallel. The distance between a language model and one such as Grok has to cross into an AGI reasoning analyzing system is wholly not just a software problem. It is also an architectural challenge demanding an entire ecosystem optimized for this relentless iteration. Upon that flies Colossus 2, with plans to deploy 1 million GPUs. This is Musk's bet that brute computational force, scaled with very precise data and learning algorithms, can get us there. At least not the least with unprecedented resources at stake in the promotion of the AGI agenda, it remains fraught with many possibilities. Will it be the data quality bottleneck instead of compute? Are current neural network architectures scalable enough to make meaningful scalings? Or will there be a need to discover new breakthroughs in cognitive modeling? Worst of all, even if one is with an argument such as that of Elon Musk, is it possible for a company allied with his resources and audacity to champion AGI without a wider scientific collaboration or regulatory oversight? Then, building into it, some might be the next great leap, or it may as well spawn entirely new challenges that we are just scratching the surface of. But behind Musk's boldest AI ambitions lies a lesser-known story, one that splits his vision into two radically different paths: the evolution from Dojo to Colossus. While xAI's Colossus is grabbing headlines as the next leap toward AGI, It's easy to forget that Elon Musk's first serious entry into the supercomputing world came through Tesla's Dojo, unlike Colossus, which is focused on language models like Grok and broader AGI pursuits. Dojo is purpose-built for one specific task: training Tesla's full self-driving, FSD, AI. It processes petabytes of video data from millions of Tesla vehicles to improve real-time perception, prediction, and planning for autonomous driving. Musk has called it a training beast and emphasized that it will reduce Tesla's reliance on NVIDIA GPUs by using custom D1 chips. Yet, even as Dojo grows more powerful, it remains tailored for a narrow AI use case. Colossus, on the other hand, is a general-purpose AI infrastructure with dramatically broader goals. Where Dojo optimizes for image recognition and object tracking in driving environments, Colossus must support multimodal learning across text, vision, speech, and potentially robotics. That demands a very different kind of architecture, more flexible, vastly more scalable, and capable of adapting to models that evolve at a much faster rate than Tesla's FSD. This divergence marks a clear turning point in Musk's AI strategy. One system, Dojo, is designed to serve Tesla's immediate commercial needs, while the other, Colossus, is being built as a frontier lab for the future of machine intelligence. Both say that Dojo and Colossus are aimed at Musk's full AI vision. Vertical value chain, from chip design to supercomputing infrastructure, becomes the sole possible way to go faster than competitors and control the entire AI pipeline, as pertains to the use of both models. Very interesting how this would actually insulate Musk Ventures from dependency by an external service provider like NVIDIA, which has practically become, to many others, an absolute vulnerability strategically. By setting them up as Dojo matures and Colossus scales, in effect, Musk is a parallel ecosystem for AI applications in unison with commercial and experimental ends. Now, can these two ever collide, or at least inform one another? Can Colossus make advances in general reasoning that ultimately boost Tesla's driving AI? Or maybe do real-world feedback loops from Dojo's FSD data help fine-tune AGI training paradigms within Colossus? Musk has said little publicly about the synergy between these platforms, but given his propensity to cross-pollinate and that he is cross-pollinating technologies across his companies, it's likely that ideas and perhaps even computing resources will move fluidly between Tesla and xAI in ways we don't yet understand. The hardware arms race. Building the world's most powerful supercomputer is no small feat, and Elon Musk's plan for Colossus 2 reflects a scale that's nearly unprecedented in the tech world. The system is expected to incorporate 1 million high-performance GPUs, most likely from NVIDIA, a company whose chips currently dominate the AI training market. That's 5 times the GPU count of Colossus 1, which already set a global benchmark with 200,000 units. The projected cost of this hardware alone is staggering, estimated between $25 and $30 billion, rivaling the entire valuation of Musk's social media platform, X. It's not just a technical milestone, it's a financial moonshot. The sheer volume of GPUs presents massive logistical challenges. These chips will need to be sourced, shipped, installed, cooled, and powered within a tight timeline that Musk claims could wrap by 2026. Even NVIDIA, despite its dominant market position, is facing global demand pressures that could complicate delivery. Moreover, fitting 1 million GPUs into a single data campus requires an intricate design of power distribution systems, high-speed networking, and thermal management to prevent performance bottlenecks or catastrophic hardware failure. It's not just about stacking chips, it's about orchestrating a hyper-efficient, scalable infrastructure. In addition to flexing all that raw muscle, the real challenge is how such GPUs would be optimized to train next-gen AI models. For all their heft in raw tensor performance then, advanced chips like Nvidia's H100 or whatever follows it will be as effective as the software stack behind them. This will require infrastructure development in areas such as model parallelism, pipeline scheduling, and workload balancing to ensure optimum GPU utilization. There's speculation he could even perhaps seek to eliminate any dependence on Nvidia eventually, perhaps proprietary chips, as Tesla attempted with Dojo's D1. Whether that happens or not, Colossus 2 is currently being built entirely around Nvidia's ecosystem, a dependency that will ultimately prove both very strong and potentially limiting. All this indicates a larger reality. The AI industry is in a hardware arms race nowadays, trying to outdo the others by orders of magnitude. Colossus 2 won't just be about the biggest. If constructed at this intended capacity, it would have to completely change the landscape of AI compute, and it would have to be grand to do that. But risks are very much involved with this aspiration. Will XI, in fact, build, assemble, and deploy that compute cluster of incredible size well within the appointed time scheduled? Will software be up to pace with hardware? And as the demand for AI creeps up in every corner of the world, could Colossus 2 end up being the center of a geopolitical flashpoint over chip access and AI dominance? These are the expected grey clouds looming in the numbers future, powering the beast. Powering a supercomputer as massive as Colossus 2 isn't just a technical challenge, it's a full-blown energy engineering project. Elon Musk's solution? Leverage Tesla energy to build what could become the largest Tesla Megapack installation in the world. Located on a 100-acre site adjacent to the Colossus 2 data center in Memphis, this grid-scale battery system will store energy during periods of low demand, such as overnight, and release it during high-demand periods. This setup aims to minimize stress on the local grid, while ensuring consistent power for the 1 million GPUs that will drive XAI's ambitions toward AGI. The Megapacks are more than just big batteries. They represent a strategic energy buffer that helps XAI decouple from traditional utility constraints. AI training requires an enormous and constant supply of electricity, and any instability, power surges, blackouts, or grid throttling could compromise critical operations. With roughly 900 megapacks estimated for the site, the system could store around 3,600 megawatt-hours of electricity, enough to power the entire Colossus 2 cluster for several hours independently. This makes the site one of the first large-scale experiments in pairing AI infrastructure directly with renewable-friendly energy storage. There's a public relations aspect beyond operational efficiency. By deploying Tesla energy products, Musk can say Colossus 2 is going sustainable, even while worries mount over AI's energy demands. AI's critics have pointed out how ironic it is to spend all this compute power simulating intelligence while simultaneously stretching power grids. Therefore, not addressing those concerns does not help the Megapack initiative. What it could do, however, is give Musk an opportunity to brand XAI as an innovator in energy-smart AI infrastructure compared to conventional fossil fuel-dependent data centers. Nevertheless, that raises some crucial questions. Would the energy in Megapacks be genuinely clean, or would it ultimately come from gas-fired power stations like the TVA Southaven plant, located just down the street? How much of the energy mix is renewable, and how transparent will XAI be about its energy sourcing? The Megapacks might alleviate some grid stress, but they also serve as a potent illustration of how intertwined AI's future and energy's future have become, along with the degree to which any power generation of this scale must deal head-on with issues of sustainability, infrastructural concerns, and local impact. Environmental fallout. The construction of Colossus 2 has not gone unnoticed by the surrounding Memphis community, particularly due to the environmental risks tied to XAI's rapid energy deployment. In addition to the planned Tesla Megapacks, investigations have revealed that XAI quietly brought in at least 35 portable methane gas turbines to help power its operations. These industrial-scale generators, capable of powering entire towns, were reportedly installed without the proper air permits, raising immediate red flags among environmental watchdogs and community leaders. Community members, many of whom live in historically black neighborhoods near the facility, have expressed growing concern about the air quality and health risks associated with methane combustion. Methane gas, while marketed by some as a cleaner fossil fuel, still emits pollutants that contribute to asthma, respiratory issues, and long-term cancer risk, problems that already disproportionately affect Memphis residents. Satellite and thermal imagery obtained by environmental groups appear to show that most, if not all, of the turbines were operating, despite XAI's claims that only a limited number were in use. The outrage became even more pronounced after unknown individuals circulated anonymous flyers that said the turbines were low emission and safe. People and officials saw this as an attempt to purposely downplay risk to the public. State Representative Justin Pearson, whose district comprises portions of the affected area, has publicly condemned XAI for a lack of transparency and called for greater oversight. "Clean air is a human right," he said, as he urged the local health department to act before it's too late for many people. It is a controversy that cuts at the very core of a much deeper relation within the Musk shunt into AI hegemony, that of private innovation and public accountability. One can build a supercomputer that will change the world at a monumental cost in energy consumption, but one brings it to an entirely different level when it is at the cost of community health and the regulatory process. This raises some urgent ethical issues and legal questions. Is it going to be a slippery slope that would allow tech companies to ignore environmental safeguards for the sake of progress? And when the world's most powerful computing cluster draws on infrastructure the public has never had a chance to evaluate, what happens then? These are the very questions that lie now at the heart of a battle not just about technology, but about who gets to shape its consequences. Even as the community wrestles with the fallout, there's a deeper question few are asking. Why Memphis in the first place? Strategic site selection. When Elon Musk's XAI chose Memphis, Tennessee as the home for Colossus 2, it wasn't just a real estate decision. It was a strategic move that balanced power access, infrastructure, and political pragmatism. The site sits adjacent to the TVA Southaven Combined Cycle Power Plant, offering close proximity to an existing high-capacity energy source, a critical requirement for supporting the supercomputer's enormous electrical demands. This alone made Memphis stand out from other potential locations, where infrastructure upgrades would have been slower or costlier to implement. Real estate also played a key role in the site selection. The facility occupies a 1 million square foot building, with additional acreage available for expansion, including the planned Tesla Megapack energy site. Memphis provided not just the landmass needed for a campus of this size, but also a relatively low cost per square foot compared to other tech hubs. For a project involving tens of billions in hardware and infrastructure, location affordability translates directly to capital efficiency, something investors pay close attention to when backing Musk's high-stakes ventures. Apart from logistics, perhaps some local or state-level incentives have sweetened the pot. While specifics have yet to float on surface waves, it is customary to provide tax breaks, fast-tracking regulatory approval, or subsidized utility access on the part of economic development boards, more than willing to pay big for high-profile employers into large-scale tech projects. Given Tennessee's business-friendly climate and Musk's track record of negotiating incentives for projects like gigafactories, it's reasonable to assume that similar arrangements helped cement Memphis as the destination for Colossus 2. Last, but perhaps gaining relevancy, there is the workforce angle. Memphis features access to a huge, diverse labor pool, including talent from local universities, technical colleges, and engineering programs. Building and operating a facility of this size, of course, will have a good deal of automation and remote systems, but being able to offer on-the-ground support, from data center technicians through security and logistics teams, matters. Whether the net effect of high-tech activity will emerge as an incremental benefit for the local economy is an open question. For now, he, preferring Memphis, an unlikely paradigm, becomes the location for one of the ostentatiously ambitious AI infrastructure projects in history. Financing the future. Financing a project as massive as Colossus 2, expected to cost tens of billions of dollars, requires more than traditional venture capital. Elon Musk has already demonstrated his ability to attract huge sums for speculative ventures, and xAI appears no different. In December, xAI raised $6 billion in a funding round that included some of Silicon Valley's most aggressive investors. But that's just the beginning. Following the merger with Musk's X platform, formerly Twitter, Musk is now positioning xAI as a central pillar of his AI media data ecosystem, potentially increasing its perceived value and investor appeal for future raises. One key financial lever Musk has is narrative. By branding Colossus 2 not just as a supercomputer, but as the backbone for the first real AGI, Musk can tap into investor FOMO, fear of missing out, in a way few others can. The prospect of funding the infrastructure for AGI, or even being early to it, is the kind of moonshot that venture firms dream of. Add to that Musk's claim that xAI could become the most valuable company in the world, and you have the makings of a capital-raising juggernaut. Whether the math backs up that valuation or not, Musk's ability to sell the vision has consistently proven to be a potent financial engine. Musk now builds in yet another financial layer by purchasing the X platform. One brand folding into itself social media, AI, and infrastructure gives investors the maximum possible exposure at once to high-growth verticals. From advertising to generative AI to enterprise compute services. This diversified playbook, while unorthodox, creates synergies in data flow and user scale that can help justify ever larger capital injections. It also makes xAI more than just pure research. It would be a commercial platform with monetization potential in the real world, something that traditional AGI labs have generally not been able to do. By that token, this funding pathway is fraught with risk. It repeatedly asks into the billions and promises a lot by way of good execution and clear signs of progress with zero reputational damage, all of which are difficult to assure. Investor confidence might be shaken if there arose regulatory scrutiny over the environmental practices of xAI or the ethics of AGI developmental processes. On the bright side, with Musk's track record, his control over a vast fan base and deep-pocketed allies, as well as the weight of the AGI narrative, it is difficult to imagine xAI encountering a very arduous process in raising the next multi-billion-dollar tranche. The bigger question might well be how he plans to return profits from the largest investment in supercomputers ever. Engineering feats. Constructing Colossus 2, set to be the most powerful AI supercomputing facility ever built, isn't just a marvel of modern technology. It's a high-speed, high-stakes engineering sprint that redefines what it means to build infrastructure at planetary scale. The initial build-out of Colossus 1, which brought 100,000 GPUs online in just 4 months and scaled to 200,000 shortly after, served as a live prototype. It wasn't just a deployment, it was a stress test for what comes next. Colossus 2 is expected to multiply that scale by a factor of 5, pushing toward 1 million GPUs in a timeframe that most engineers would consider absurdly ambitious. Yet Musk has promised it will be operational by fall 2026. The physical scale alone is daunting. The current site spans more than 1 million square feet, but that footprint will need to grow rapidly. We're talking about a facility the size of a small airport, with dense server halls packed floor to ceiling with cutting-edge hardware, fiber optic mesh networking, megawatt-class power converters, and industrial-scale water or air-cooled systems running 24/7. Unlike traditional data centers, which can gradually scale capacity over years, Colossus 2 must be designed to accommodate exponential growth right out of the gate. Everything from power grids to network latency, fire suppression, and physical security must be engineered with failover systems that anticipate failure, because downtime at this level doesn't just lose money, it halts the future of AGI. Every subsystem must be built for extreme modularity and parallel deployment. That means hundreds of prefabricated GPU racks arriving by truck, ready for hot swapping into pre-wired bays. It means building cooling towers before the machines arrive. It means coordinating with dozens of suppliers across chip manufacturing, HVAC engineering, high-voltage infrastructure, and AI firmware optimization, all moving in parallel, all bound to Musk's self-imposed clock. Unlike many large-scale infrastructure projects that allow for ramp-up periods and soft launches, Colossus 2's go-live needs to hit critical mass immediately. xAI's AI models won't wait. Then there's the challenge of supply chain fragility. Even a delay in custom cable production or thermal paste sourcing could ripple through the construction timeline. NVIDIA, whose GPUs form the computational backbone of Colossus, is already facing global demand constraints. Add to that the recent geopolitical tensions surrounding semiconductor exports, and it becomes clear that just getting 1 million GPUs delivered on time is a logistics nightmare. That's before you factor in cooling systems that must dissipate gigawatts of heat, or energy draw that exceeds many small cities. On top of hardware comes the invisible layer, software orchestration. Scaling model training across 1 million GPUs requires fault-tolerant schedulers, optimized model parallelism, and bleeding-edge memory management that can handle real-time retraining at petabyte scale. This means that while cranes install air handlers, xAI's machine learning teams must simultaneously develop new internal systems for AI workload balancing, redundancy, and efficiency, all before first boot. The architectural complexity is closer to launching a new SpaceX rocket platform than building a conventional data center. Whether Colossus 2 succeeds or stumbles will depend on flawless integration across these verticals. Can chip supply chains hold? Can infrastructure crews beat the heat, both literally and figuratively? Can software engineers match hardware velocity without introducing unseen instabilities? These aren't abstract questions. They are mission-critical pressure points that will determine whether Musk delivers the crown jewel of AI infrastructure or is left with the most expensive unfinished experiment in supercomputing history. The bigger picture. Colossus 2 isn't just a tool for building artificial general intelligence. It's a launchpad for redefining what's possible across some of the most critical sectors of the global economy. With its 1 million GPUs and unmatched processing capabilities, this isn't just another supercomputer. It's a platform capable of modeling the chaotic, interconnected systems that humans still struggle to understand. In industries constrained by complexity and data overload, Colossus 2 could be the machine that breaks through those limits. We're not talking marginal gains, we're talking category shifts. Take healthcare, for example. Colossus 2 could train deeply integrated, multimodal AI models that synthesize genetic data, medical imaging, patient records, and even doctor-patient voice interactions. This could enable precision diagnostics at a scale and speed previously unimaginable, identifying rare diseases, modeling individual treatment plans, or simulating drug interactions across vast populations. The computational ceiling that's historically limited biotech innovation could be lifted, possibly shortening the time to develop new therapies from years to months. Climate science is another frontier ripe for transformation. With this scale of compute, scientists could run hyper-accurate, real-time Earth system models that integrate atmospheric, oceanic, and geologic data across thousands of variables. We're talking about simulations that don't just predict weather patterns, but assess the long-term impacts of human decisions on global ecosystems. From urban flood modeling to wildfire spread prediction, the insights enabled by Colossus 2 could guide policy at a planetary level, and not just in theory. but in practice. The ability to test interventions before they're implemented in the real world could be revolutionary. Even in abstract numbers-driven arenas like finance, Colossus 2 may bring strategic intelligence to a new level. It could power AI agents that don't just react to market trends, but understand the narratives behind them, parsing news cycles, sentiment shifts, and historical cycles to anticipate black swan events. This kind of reasoning, near human in strategy but superhuman in speed, could give rise to a new class of financial tools, perhaps even reshaping how economic systems are managed. And with Musk's growing ambitions in space, the same infrastructure could someday train autonomous navigation systems for Mars rovers, or model lunar-based logistics in full simulation. What binds all these applications together isn't just scale. It's the possibility of systems that understand the world deeply enough to shape it. But behind every breakthrough lies a bigger question. Who gets to control the engine powering it all? AI, progress versus public oversight. As Elon Musk's XAI races to build the world's most powerful AI infrastructure with Colossus 2, a new kind of ethical dilemma emerges. One not just about what AI can do, but who gets to control the compute force behind it. The sheer scale of Colossus 2, housing 1 million GPUs and consuming gigawatts of energy, raises fundamental questions about oversight. What happens when a private company amasses more compute power than many governments? In an age where compute is synonymous with influence, the lack of external checks on how this infrastructure is used, or misused, should give policymakers pause. The current regulatory frameworks for AI barely account for frontier models, let alone the back-end infrastructure capable of producing them at global scale. There are no meaningful limits on how much compute a single entity can acquire, nor are there requirements for transparency around what models are being trained, how data is being used, or whether safety protocols are in place. Critics argue that companies like XAI are moving faster than governments can react, intentionally so. Without enforceable standards, it's unclear who, if anyone, ensures that AGI-level systems are aligned with human values, or that they're not trained using biased, stolen, or ethically dubious data. The notion of compute concentration brings in its wings a set of geopolitical and economic issues. If Colossus 2 is to be the other center for advanced AI development, does that mean Musk's XAI could unfairly cut through industries and national agendas? Would other contenders in academia or public institutions still have a shot at promoting open source or non-profit AGI initiatives without equivalent resources? And where finance, healthcare, or defense are concerned, on what grounds can such a one-person vision, whatever benevolent and ambitious, be draped in that future without deterrence or public engagement of some kind or democratic guardrails? A good number of authoritative voices toward the establishment of a global compute governance framework, targeting nuclear oversight of sorts, which would set transparency and safety criteria to be met at any level of the development process and the use of large-scale AI infrastructures. Another idea holds that certain classes of reporting should be introduced for any supercomputing initiative above a certain threshold, or even go so far as to limit GPU allocations unless ethical audits are passed. These ideas still remain largely speculative, yet the Colossus 2 project is accelerating the sense of urgency. As AI systems begin to attain autonomy, the infrastructure making them possible cannot remain hidden from public scrutiny. These ethical questions are not hypothetical, they are infrastructural, pressing and demanding regulations that can keep pace with innovation. If you found this deep dive into Elon Musk's AI empire as fascinating or as unsettling as we did, don't forget to like the video, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more bold tech breakdowns like this one. Want to see where Colossus 2 fits in the global race for AGI? Click the next video on your screen. It's one you won't want to miss.